Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and to today's video. I hope you're all okay. So today's video is going to be another makes video. So I've kind of run two makes videos back to back recently, but I needed to catch myself up with all of my makes because I hadn't really shared what I've been making over the summer, and now we find ourselves at the end of September already. So I thought I would share everything I've been making in September today. And then I'm up to date with my makes videos. So yeah, I hope that's okay. I have really enjoyed September actually. It's been really nice getting back into the swing of things. I never really feel as though I want summer to end. I really enjoy the summer holidays. I love having the children at home and everything. But there is something nice about going back to a routine and getting myself back into sewing and filming my videos and doing all the things that I do as well while my children are at school. So yeah, even though I felt as though I didn't want summer to end, it has been quite nice to get back into things, and it's been really nice to get back into sewing again because I did have quite a break over the summer. I didn't really sew anything at all because we were having quite a lot of work done on our house. But the break was actually really nice and really needed, I think, and it made me have a real good think about what I do want to make going forward. So yeah, I've really enjoyed what I've been making this month. So I actually have 6 makes to share with you today and one sewing fail, which I'm gonna just include at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that one if you want to see what didn't turn out quite so well this month. So without further ado, let's get into what I've been making this month in September. So over the summer I did a kind of vague wardrobe audit kind of thing, just in my head really. I didn't get everything out and sort through it or anything like that, but I was kind of trying to notice what I did and didn't wear, and maybe the kind of things that I need to sew over what I want to sew. And I realised that I don't have a lot of handmade basics in my wardrobe. So say things to wear underneath my shirts and hand knitted cardigans or ready to wear cardigans and things like that. I just don't have a lot of sort of neutral basics that I can wear with things like that. So I decided that what I needed to focus on this month in September was trying to get a few really good neutral basics into my wardrobe. So the first 2 things I made in September were actually a couple of Ogden Camis. Here they are. So yeah, I wanted to make a couple of Ogden Camis because they're just a real good basic really, aren't they, to wear underneath things. I do have quite a lot of cardigans and I don't tend to wear them very often because I do struggle to know what to wear underneath them, and I know that sounds silly because really you could just wear a t-shirt or something like this or a vest or something, but for some reason I just didn't have many of those things in my wardrobe, so I decided to add a few. So what I wanted to do really was focus on quality, so the quality of the fabrics I was using, and make a couple of things that I knew would last for a long while and that would feel nice to wear and that I know that I will want to wear as well. So I've got this lovely viscose dobby fabric from Atelier Brunette, and I actually got this colourway first. It's a kind of, I forget what the colour's called actually, but I'll list it down below, but it's sort of pinky beige, I would say. And I had this, a metre of this in my stash for quite a long while, and I just didn't get around to making anything with it. I always wanted to make an Ogden Cami with it, but for some reason I kept putting it off. And then over the summer, Minerva had one of their craft club sales, and I decided to pick up the ivory colourway as well. And I thought, you know what, they're going to make a couple of really good camis that I can have in my wardrobe just to put under things basically. So that's what I did, made 2 Ogden Camis, both from the same fabric but in different colourways, and I'm really pleased with how these turned out. So this Dobby viscose from Atelier Brunette is really lovely. It feels really good quality. It's really silky, really drapey and lovely, and I know that I'm going to enjoy wearing these and want to put them on. But I think the reason I've been putting off making the Ogden Cami is because even though I would say it's one of my favourite patterns, I don't really enjoy making it, and I think that's because there's quite a lot of kind of understitching and stay stitching and what I would say the more boring side of sewing in that pattern. But I think we can all agree that the result of the Ogden Cami is well worth the effort. So yeah, this was just a job that I needed to get on with really, and because this fabric was so lovely, I decided to make them a little bit extra special, and I French seamed the insides as well. And I'm so pleased that I did that because I just feel like they've turned out a bit more kind of luxurious, I suppose, than they would have done if I'd just overlocked them. So I'll show you the insides. So hopefully you can see there on the camera my lovely French seam inside. And yeah, it's always a bit of a faff to do French seams, isn't it? But I think, again, the result is really worth it. So I'm so pleased that I took the extra time to do that. So with these fabrics, I found that this one wasn't see-through at all. This one was quite opaque because obviously the darker colour and everything. So I just lined this one as the pattern suggests with the kind of half line in here. But when it came to this one, this ivory colour was really quite see-through when I held it up to the light, and obviously you don't really want to see through cami, do you? So with this one I just extended the lining down, and so it's not quite as long as the full body of the top. It's just slightly shorter. I don't know if you'll see, if I hold that right up to the light, can you see maybe the bottom there where the light's shining through? Not sure if the camera will actually pick that up or not. But anyway, I've just left about an inch clear of the main body of the fabric, just so that if I wear it out, you kind of get that sort of sheer effect at the bottom, which I think looks quite pretty. So those are those two basics, and I'm really, really pleased that I managed to get them done. What I would say about this fabric is that it does fray quite a lot, and it does feel pretty delicate. So I think if you do use this kind of fabric, or if you do want to buy some of it and make your own thing, it is quite frayy and it does feel as though it would be quite delicate. So I think French seaming, or at least making sure that you really overlock it well, is a good idea, because I think with wash and wear it could be one of those where the seams start to fray. So yeah, just a point to note about that fabric, but those are those. So the next thing I made in September was a pair of Palazzo Pants. So this is the pattern that I use, which I have shared before. This was kindly given to me by Palazzo Patterns, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who are a lovely Swedish company, a lovely lady who designs some really nice patterns. She's got some dresses, a pair of leggings, these trousers, and a t-shirt pattern, which I've also got to try, which I haven't made up yet. But yeah, well worth checking out this lovely pattern company, if nothing else because the printed patterns are just so lovely to look at, aren't they? I think they're really nice, and yeah, it's nice to have these in my pattern collection because they look so pretty. So I was kindly given this pattern. It's the Tyra trousers, and you can make two versions of these wide leg trousers. So you can make them as a pair of culottes there, so you can have them just shorter so they kind of come mid-calf, or you can have them really long and really wide-legged as a pair of Palazzo pants. So these have an elasticated waist, and they have some in waistband kind of slant pockets at the front as well. And I'll just show you the line drawing so you can see at the back. So the trousers themselves are a really simple style, really simple design, obviously very easy to fit with the elasticated waist as well, which is always really lovely. So I decided to make View B, which is the Palazzo pants, the longer version, because you'll know that I do have quite a few pairs of sapphire culottes in my wardrobe. So I didn't really feel as though I needed any more culottes. And I'm very happy with the sapphire pattern when it comes to making culottes. And I don't have many full-legged pairs of sort of viscose floaty trousers, so I really wanted to try making a pair to see how I felt in them. And this is how they turned out. So I will put in a picture of me wearing these as well, because obviously it's going to be difficult to show you what they look like on the camera. But here they are. So for these I used a really nice viscose challis fabric from Minerva, which was given to me as part of my ambassador role for them. So I have written up this make as a blog post for them, which I will link down below so you can read all the details about this make and how I found the fabric and everything if you want to. But yeah, I just felt as though this fabric was perfect for these trousers. I love the colour. So it's a ditzy floral on a navy background, and the flowers have mustard and greens and a kind of slight beige in there, I think, as well. And I thought the mustard tones would be really nice for autumn time as well. So based on the finished garment length of the trousers, I decided to shorten them by an inch at the bottom. So in the pattern there aren't any lengthen or shorten lines, but the leg is fairly straight the whole way through, so I just decided to take off an inch at the bottom of the hem of both legs, and then I actually turned up a bit of a wider hem than was suggested in the pattern. I didn't want to shorten these too much for my first go because I always like to leave things longer so that I can shorten if I need to, because there's nothing worse than shortening things too much and then not being able to go back, obviously. And I wanted to make sure that I could try these on with trainers and sandals as well, and just see what I wanted the length to be like. So yeah, they sew up similarly really to the Sapphire trousers, other than that they do have the pockets at the front. And I'm really pleased with how these turned out. They're so comfortable to wear, and it's really nice to have a full leg pair of wide leg trousers that I can wear in the autumn time, because I don't really feel as though I can wear my Sapphire culottes when it gets too chilly. So it'll be really nice to pair these with jumpers and trainers and things like that as we go into the colder months. So one thing I'd maybe say about this pattern is that next time I make it, I might actually try to make the waistband flat fronted, so that it's flat between where the pockets are at the waistband. Because the only thing I do find about these trousers is just that they do bunch up quite a lot in the middle, and I think that can sometimes be a little bit unflattering if you're wearing something a bit more baggy on the top. So yeah, I'll definitely be making these again, but I do think I will try to make them flat fronted at the front. So I'll just keep the waistband flat between the pockets, and then I'll have the elastic around the back, similar again to the Sapphire trousers. And I just find that a little bit more of a flattering look. So that's those. I would highly recommend this pattern, and I'll link it down below, and do pop over and just see what other patterns they have available, because they're a lovely pattern company, and the lady that runs the company is very lovely and very friendly as well. So another thing I made this month, which was really good fun, was this lovely little bear. So I did show this in a recent kind of catch-up video, and she didn't have any clothes. And I've since made the clothes for her, and I absolutely love how this has turned out. It was such fun to make. So the pattern I've used for making the lovely little bear is this Studio Seren pattern, which I came across when I was writing an article for Threads Monthly blog, which I'll link below. And I was writing about teddy bear patterns, and I came across this pattern and thought I really must have a go at making that one up, because it's just so lovely and it looks like so much fun to make. I really enjoy making cloth dolls. I think they're just really fun, and I love all the little clothes and things that you can make for them as well, and you can just make them look really cute. So I have made a couple of the Tilda dolls as well, which I love, and my daughter has them in her bedroom, and I always go in there and I have a little look at them, and I just think I really enjoyed making them. Such fun to sew, and it's something different as well from making clothing all the time. So I made this one Saturday morning with my daughter. So as I mentioned in the video, we wanted to sew it up together. But when it came to it, the parts for the teddy bear are actually quite fiddly to sew really for her, because she's 10. Obviously doesn't have that much sewing experience, and because you have to sew quite thin arms and legs and things like that, it was a little bit fiddly to kind of sew around the curves and everything. So I did most of the sewing in the end, and she did a lot of the stuffing, and she also chose the fabrics for the clothing and things like that. So it was quite a fun project to do together, but possibly more for an older child or someone with more sewing experience to try. But nonetheless, we did it together, and it was really nice to do over a weekend project. So yeah, I have only good things to say about this pattern. I think it's really, really lovely and perfect if you are a beginner to toy making. So if you haven't made many toys, this is a really good pattern to try, because the instructions are amazing. They're really thorough. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I really like how the designer gives you the exact placement of the eyes and nose for the face as well, because faces are definitely the make or break of a toy in my opinion. And I think the more help you can be given getting them right and getting them perfectly symmetrical and things, the better. And I've never really come across a toy pattern so far that actually has a pattern for the eyes, so it was really nice to have that. And then yeah, the eyes and nose are all embroidered on. You can actually use felt circles or felt scraps, but I decided to embroider them on, and they turned out really nicely using that pattern, so I was really pleased with that. So then I made the overalls for the bear as well, and there's a separate pattern which is included in this pattern for overalls, but she does have a lot of other clothes for the dolls available to buy separately on her Etsy shop. So I think there's a possible addiction brewing here to making these bears and making the clothes to go with them, because they're just such fun to make. So Lily really wanted the bear to have checkered dungarees, she said. So I had a hunt around in my scraps basket. I managed to find this really small sort of gingham fabric, which has a bit of a seersucker feel to it actually. It's really nice. And then I have quite a lot of Liberty scraps. And we decided to use the Liberty scraps for the pockets and for her little bow here. So yeah, all in all, a really fun project. The only thing I haven't finished actually is that you're supposed to sew the straps into the trousers. I didn't want to do that because Lily wanted to be able to remove the clothes, and obviously you swap them around and things like that. So I was going to have a look at putting some poppers on the back, but because these little trousers are so small, the poppers are already quite big. So what we've done is just left them free, and the straps can just be tucked into the trousers. Like that, and they stay on pretty well as long as she doesn't move around too much. And then obviously the trousers can be taken on and off, and the clothes can be swapped around. I think these would be really good for Christmas presents, birthday presents and things like that, because you can make the bear and then you can make some lovely clothing to go with it, and that would be a really lovely gift. So my next project with these is actually to make the panda, which is this one here, and I do have that all cut out ready to go, so I'm looking forward to having a go at that one, and then possibly I might actually buy one of the dress patterns or something so that we can have a different outfit for her and for the bear as well. So yeah, that's that one. So the next make that I managed to get sewn up this month was my Saltwater slip dress by Friday Pattern Company. So this one I mentioned that I wanted to make in my 3 looks I want to sew up for summer video, which I filmed at the beginning of summertime, with 3 looks and 3 items that I wanted to get made for my summer wardrobe. So unfortunately this one didn't quite get made in time for summertime, with one thing and another. But I really wanted to get this made up just so that I could get all 3 of my summer looks made up. And of course I really wanted to give this pattern a try as well, because it has been a really super popular one in the sewing community. And like I said when I showed this before, I think I can't look at Instagram at the moment without a saltwater slip popping up somewhere or other. It's so popular. So yeah, every time I saw it I really wanted to get on with my own version. So this is a really simple slip dress pattern. So the version on the front here is actually a full length version with 2 slits at the side. You can actually make this as a mini dress as well. I'll just show you the line drawings, hopefully the camera will pick them up there. So the front is cut on the fold, so it's just one simple piece with some bust darts, and then the back is cut with 2 back pieces, so it gives a little bit of shaping here. And then everything is finished with bias binding around the neck edge. And the neck binding actually continues up into your straps, which are then finished with rings and sliders so that you can have them adjustable and you can adjust them to the length that you need your straps to be, which is really good I think, because a dress like this you can actually wear it in the summertime as just like a cami dress, but in the autumn you can actually wear it with things like polo necks or t-shirts or whatever underneath it, so then you might need a little bit more room with your straps. So I do like the idea of the adjustable straps. So yeah, I was really excited to give this one a go. So here's my version, and I made it with this really lovely viscose linen fabric which I brought from Selfmade. So yeah, this was such a lovely sew and a really quick sew as well. I do love Friday Pattern Company patterns, they're really good. I think if you're a beginner or you're slightly nervous, they have really good instructions that do hold your hand all the way through. And for many of their patterns, they actually have YouTube videos as well, where they will do a sew along of the pattern and you can go over and watch that. I haven't actually watched the sew along for this one because I felt okay making this, but I did watch the sew along for the Davenport dress and the patina blouse I think as well before I made up my versions of those things. And it really does help I think to see someone else sewing up the patterns before you make them yourself. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I decided to go for the full length version, and you can see that it's got the slits here. It really wants to fall off the hanger, so I'm just going to take it off. So I've actually included the optional side ties with my dress as well, just so that you can bring it in slightly at the waist if you want to. It gives it a little bit more shaping, because obviously the slip dress is really quite straight. So yeah, I really wanted the side ties to bring it in, and I think it actually adds a little bit of decoration as well. I think it looks really nice with the bow at the front when you tie it up. So I need to do a little bit of hand sewing on this actually, I've just remembered showing it to you now. So hopefully you can see on the camera there, those are my rings and sliders. So you've got the ring here that your strap just threads through, and then you've got your slider here where you can just adjust your strap, and I just need to hand sew the end of my strap to this bit just so that I can adjust it, and that bit won't move around too much. So yeah, a really lovely sew, a very quick sew, came together really nicely and really quickly, and I think I made this in around 2.5 hours, so it is quite a speedy sew. The only thing I'd say about it is that it is pretty fiddly actually to get this binding neatly sewn around the edge, because you fold over your binding and you enclose the raw edge inside, and then you top stitch around the edge. So you've really got to be quite neat and quite accurate with your sewing going around the edge. And I managed it fine around the front, but on the underarm area, I did have to actually go back and redo a couple of small bits where I just missed the binding, and the sewing machine hadn't quite caught it in. So yeah, it's a little bit fiddly. But it does give a really nice finish, and I really like how it looks at the end. So this is the back. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see my centre back seam there, but there is one right down the middle. And then your straps are just here. Although I do think this will mainly be a summer dress for me, I'm hoping to get a little bit of wear out of it maybe before we get too far into the cold months here in the UK, because I think it would look really nice with a t-shirt underneath it. And I do actually have plans to make a long sleeve Agnes t-shirt to go underneath this, and then see if I do get some wear out of it in autumn time. So I didn't actually shorten this dress. I made the length as it was, but then I actually turned up the hem slightly more than it suggested you should turn it up in the pattern, just to get it to the right length for me. So I wanted to keep this one quite long so that it was almost maxi length, so that I could wear it with trainers and in the autumn times, and in the autumn time boots and things like that as well. So yeah, I wanted the longer length of this one. I do love this fabric, it was really nice to work with. Oh, the only thing I did have trouble with actually with it is that it didn't want to press very easily. I wanted to sort of roll out all the time, so I did have a little bit of trouble trying to hold it in place when I was doing making the bias binding. You do have to be able to press it quite neatly. So yeah, I had a little bit of trouble and fiddliness trying to get my binding made with this fabric because it was quite springy. But yeah, really pleased to have made this dress with it. I think it'll be really comfortable and nice and drapey. So that's that one. So lastly, I'll just talk about what I'm wearing today, and this is another kind of quality basic that I wanted to get into my wardrobe, another fabric that I've had for a little while now. I decided to make another Scout Tee by Grain Line Studio. So this is a Scout Tee pattern. It's by Grain Line Studio, and it's a really simple t-shirt pattern, but it's made for woven fabric. So I've had this pattern for so long, and I've made one version of it from another Atelier Brunette fabric actually, which I wore in a video recently, and I had quite a few compliments on it, and then wondered why I'd never made another version of it. And since I'm trying to add basics to my wardrobe at the moment, I decided that I would use this really lovely Atelier Brunette double gauze fabric to make another version of this. So I made it up in this lovely fabric, so double gauze by Atelier Brunette again. It's really, really soft, really quite warm actually, because it has that double layer of fabric to it. And all over it, it has these really pretty embroidered gold dots. So yeah, really, really nice fabric for a nice, simple pattern. And that's what I want at the moment. Something else I can just wear underneath shirts and cardigans and things like that. So this pattern is such a speedy sew. It's really simple. So you have your little short cap sleeves here, which are set in on the round, which is probably the part that takes the longest of all of this pattern. The sleeves and the bottom are hemmed, and then the neckline is bias bound. So I sewed this up in an hour. I couldn't actually believe it. I had it all cut out and everything, and I sewed it on the same day as I made my saltwater slip, and I thought, oh, I'll just start this. I had about 2 hours I think before the school run, see how far I get. And I'd made it in like an hour, which was really good. And this fabric was lovely to sew. It's a cotton obviously, so it pressed nicely, and yeah, it was just lovely to work with. I did overlock the insides of this one. I did consider doing French seams, but I thought because of the double layer of fabric, French seams might end up being slightly bulky, especially around the sleeves and the armhole area. The only thing I'd say about this pattern actually is that the bias binding pattern piece is very narrow. So next time I make this, I'm definitely gonna make the bias binding strip wider, because I don't really see why it can't be wider. And again, similar to my saltwater slip, there was just a little bit in it that I missed with the sewing machine. And because of this sort of delicate double gauze, I didn't really want to go in and start unpicking things. So I left it as it was, and I've just needed to sort of hand sew where I missed with the sewing machine. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you are going to make this top. The bias binding strip that you use to bind the neckline is very narrow and very fiddly to fit. So definitely going to widen that next time. And another thing I was going to mention, if I'm being really picky about this top, is just that I think perhaps the sleeves sit slightly low on me. So probably the sleeves should be just slightly more here. So they come up a little bit on my shoulders, whereas I do want to sort of drop down a little bit so they're here on my shoulders rather than where they should be. So another thing I could maybe change for next time is just to either take them in, or maybe even just take an extra bit of seam allowance at the top. I don't know if that would work or not. It's only very slight, and I just noticed it when I put it on to wear today, and I don't think it's not something that's going to bother me too much. I'll definitely still wear this top and everything, but if I want to get it absolutely perfect next time, maybe I could just raise that slightly. But other than that, yeah, it's a really lovely pattern, and it's a really good one for using really nice fabric for, I think, because you can really show off the fabric. And just another good basic to have in my wardrobe. So that's that one. So just before I go, I thought I would share with you a bit of a sewing fail that I had in this month. And well, where shall I start? So on a Saturday morning, I was browsing through the Marks and Spencer sale just to see what there was, and actually for a bit of inspiration as well, because I do like looking at high street websites and things and having a look and seeing, you know, if there's anything I want to recreate or have in my own wardrobe. And I came across this t-shirt dress here. So this was in the sale. It's obviously from their summer collection. And I really liked it, and I liked how it looked on the model. And I remembered that in my stash I had some lovely cotton jersey in a really solid, really thick pink and white stripe. And I thought, I wonder if I can recreate that using patterns that I've already got and see how that goes. So in a fit of inspiration, one Saturday afternoon when we've been out and about and everyone was amusing themselves, I sat down and thought about how I could recreate this dress. And I decided to use two patterns that I already have. The Jara sweatshirt, which I've been meaning to try as a t-shirt for a while. So the Marks and Spencer's version of this dress actually has quite dropped sleeves, and the Jara sweatshirt pattern does as well. So I thought I could use that as a sort of basic to the t-shirt style of this dress. And then I wanted to lengthen it down to about the length of my Friday Pattern Company saltwater slip dress, which I've just made and shared. And then I would get the slits at the side as well. So I had a bit of a play around, and I managed to cut out my dress, and I made it up. I was really pleased with how I sewed this together actually. I used my twin needle and everything, and I took my time over it. And yeah, this is what it looks like. So in theory, the dress turned out okay, and I got the length, and I managed to get my slits at the side here and everything, and the Jara pattern worked really nicely as a t-shirt. So you can see that I've got the drop sleeve here, and I've just shortened the sleeve so that I've got a kind of little sleeve, which is quite dropped. But when I put this on, it just looked like a wee willy winky nightgown. I'll put in an image of me wearing it, but it's just so oversized and it doesn't suit me at all. It's just kind of shapeless. And I was so disappointed, because it was one of those things where I had it in my head this was going to be a brilliant make, and I was going to be able to recreate something that I'd found on the high street using what I've already got and everything, and yeah, just didn't really quite work. So yeah, that was that. I had to go at that this week, and I think it's a little bit of a lesson really in knowing again what suits you, because I think I should have known really that on me being quite small, these kind of oversized shapeless dresses don't always work on me, and I should have known that really. And I also probably should have known that I wouldn't have been comfortable wearing this amount of pink and white stripe, because I just felt a bit like a candy cane or something. Wasn't quite the make that I was expecting, but I think in reality, I think what I'd done did actually work quite well as a t-shirt dress, so it might be something that I can try and recreate again, but maybe with a more of a solid fabric, like a black fabric might work really nicely. And I think if I do make this again, I'll try it again, I'll actually take off the sleeves and just have it as a drop sleeve, because you do get a bit of a sleeve with the jarrah anyway, because it kind of hangs down and finishes here, so you do get a little bit of a cap sleeve, like a grown-on sleeve, I suppose. So I could take that off and then maybe try it in like a plain viscose jersey or something like that and shorten it a little bit. And I think because I've made this in a cotton jersey as well, it's quite sort of sticky outy. Didn't really drape very nicely. So I'm not going to put this to waste actually. I'm going to trim off the bottom half of this dress and I'm going to just have it as a t-shirt. And I might even actually take off the sleeves and just have it as, like I said, just like a drop sleeve t-shirt that I can wear in the summertime. Or I might actually just leave it as it is and use it as a cover up for the beach or something when we go on holiday, or for the pool, because I think it would be fine for that. I just wouldn't really be happy or comfortable wearing it out and about. So that was my sewing fail for the month, but I do think it's really important to learn from these fails, and what I've learned is the jarrah does actually work quite nicely as a t-shirt. And I've also learned that big oversized shapeless things don't look as nice on me as they do on some people. So that's my learning experience for the month. So that's all my makes for the month of September. I hope you like them. I'm really pleased, as I say, with everything I got made this month, and I'm really glad that I got some of those basics made up. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments as well what you've been making, what you've been up to. I always love to hear from you in the comments. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like, and I'd love you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So I should be back on Wednesday this week with a kind of catch-up video just to let you know what I'm working on in the week and things that have happened in my sewing life. So stay tuned for that one. Otherwise, take care, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.